Hey there, loves. Welcome to Life's Just Cray. I'm Kate, and this is where we talk through real life situations that have you up until 2 a.m. talking with your bestie. Like, okay, but what would you do though? Real situations, real talk, no fluff. My grandma always used to say that you could lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And that's exactly how I move on this show. Everything I say comes from my own experience or my own thoughts. I'm not a professional, and I'm not here to tell you what to do. However, it might just help. People pleasing is on the table today, and I need everyone listening to be honest about how much of themselves that they recognize in this one.
I have spent the better part of my adult life being the person everyone could count on. The one who said yes when she meant no. The one who rearranged her schedule to make someone else's life easier. The one who absorbed tension in a room before it became conflict and smoothed things over before anyone had to sit in the discomfort of an unresolved moment. I was good at it. People appreciated it, and for a long time, that appreciation felt like enough of a return on the investment. It felt like proof that I was showing up the right way and being the kind of person worth having around. That the way I moved through the world was something to be proud of, even when it cost me things I did not fully acknowledge I was paying. I do not know exactly when it stopped feeling like generosity and started feeling like a trap. There was no single moment. Just a slow accumulation of small surrenders that added up to something I did not recognize when I finally stopped to look at it. I had built an entire version of myself around being useful and agreeable and available, and I had done it so consistently and for so long that I was not entirely sure who I was underneath all of that accommodation. I had made myself so easy to be around that I had stopped being fully present in my own life. I was performing the version of me that everybody needed, and somewhere in that performance, I had lost track of the version that was actually mine. The hardest part is that people-pleasing does not look like a problem from the outside. It looks like being a good person. It looks like being dependable and kind and easy to be around. Nobody pulls you aside and says, "Hey, I think you need to stop being so agreeable." They just keep asking, and you keep saying yes, and the whole thing keeps working perfectly for everyone except you. And the longer you do it, the harder it becomes to imagine what the alternative even looks like, because you have not said no in so long that you have genuinely forgotten what it feels like to have a preference that inconveniences someone else and be okay with that. I started therapy about a year ago, and the first time my therapist suggested that my need to please others might actually be rooted in a fear of abandonment or rejection, I almost laughed. It sounded too clinical for something that had always just felt like being nice. But the more I sat with it, the more I understood that every yes I gave when I meant no was actually just me trying to make sure someone would not leave or pull away or think less of me if I disappointed them. That realization did not make it easier to stop. It just made me understand why stopping felt so terrifying. And understanding the why did not automatically hand me a way out. How do you start saying no to people when the thought of disappointing them feels genuinely unbearable?
I see you in this situation because this was me. Not a version of me that I've read about or heard about, but me. 7 to 10 years ago, I was doing everything for everyone and leaving absolutely nothing for myself. I didn't know how to set a boundary. I didn't even fully understand what a boundary was, even in a practical sense, because I had spent so long operating without one that the concept almost felt foreign to my daily life. And I want you to hear this from someone who has been exactly where you're standing right now. If it hasn't broken you down into tears yet, please don't let it get to that point where it does, because it will get there if you let it. And that is a harder place to come back from than where you're at right now. So let's talk about the hardest thing first. You have to start saying no. I know how it feels when you read it, when you hear it, like it's a simple advice that means nothing when you're really standing in the moment and someone is just looking at you and waiting, and the word yes is already forming before you've even had a chance to think. But here's something that happened to me when I finally started doing it. And I want you to hold on to this because it changed everything for me. At some point, saying no stopped feeling like a loss, and it started feeling almost funny. I'm serious. You start to notice the sheer volume of things that people have been asking of you, and you start cataloging it in your own head, and there's this moment of where you realize just how much knowledge you actually have and how much people have been relying on you and how needed you actually are. And it's actually quite humbling in the best way possible. Not in an egotistical way, but in a way I actually have a lot to offer, and I've been giving it away for free to everyone who's asked. There's been so many TV shows that have done entire episodes around this exact moment. The person finally says no and then can't stop saying it, and it almost becomes comedic how liberating it feels. And there is some truth in that. Because once you start to see the pattern is almost absurd, especially when you lay it all out. But here's where I want you to land with this. Stop putting yourself last on your own list. Start prioritizing yourself first and see what happens. See who actually shows up to support you in the way that you've been supporting everyone else. See who's willing to show up for both of you while also taking care of themselves. Because the people worth keeping in your life won't disappear when you start having needs of your own. They'll step up. And the ones who only knew how to take from you will show you exactly who they are the moment you stop making it so easy on them. You're not meant to be here to endlessly be useful to other people. You're here to live your own life too. Alrighty, loves. That's all I've got for you today, and you already know where to find me. Slide into the DMs with your situation, and you might just hear it on the next episode. And if this one hit home for you, share it with someone who needs it, because that is what we do. And remember, just because I've said this advice doesn't mean you have to take it. You're the maker of your own decisions, but you must also be willing to deal with the consequences of your actions if there are any. Until next time, take care of yourself.